Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Big Bad Toy Store exclusive black and white accent Justice League Endless Winter Aquaman. Now this is part of the Big Bad Toy Store exclusive black and white accent figures, which is kind of a cool concept if you're into the variants. This is a re-release of the Endless Winter Aquaman, which was McFarlane's first sort of normal looking Aquaman figure. Obviously, I pre-ordered this at Big Bad Toy Store, and it finally arrived today. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, this is part of the Gold Label collection. A Gold Label figure is simply a retailer exclusive, whether it be Target or Walmart. This particular Gold Label is a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive. DC, Aquaman, Endless Winter, Black and White Accent Edition, Big Bad Toy Store exclusive, limited to 3,010 pieces, kind of an odd number, McFarlane Toys. One side of the package, Aquaman, Endless Winter, black and white. Other side, totally blank. At the back, here's Aquaman posed up. You can see black and white with yellow accents. And at the bottom, there's a bunch of credits and his barcode, if that helps. Now, this is one of McFarlane's deluxe figures. Remove the outer sleeve, and here is the figure in the package. He has a Trident, collector's card, stand for the collector's card, and then the display stand that just jumped out at you. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He has a display stand, a collector's card, display stand for the collector's card, and his Trident. But before we take a look at all that, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Aquaman. His real name is Arthur Curry. He's a half-human, half-Atlantean heir to the throne. This is the black and white accent from Big Bad Toy Store. It looks cool, but unnecessary unless you like the variants, which I do. This is based off the Justice League Endless Winter comic series, and it's a pretty normal looking Aquaman, except this one is done without the traditional color scheme. So let's take a look. Starting with his face here, it looks pretty good. You can see he's got his right eyebrow sort of cocked up. He's got Aquaman beard, long hair. It all looks good, but it's just lacking some color, as you would expect with a black and white release. Black and white with yellow accent. You can see yellow around his collar and around his belt. He has the Aquaman logo here. Nice texturing, sort of scaling on his outfit. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. He's got the little sort of fin thing going in the back there. Overall, it's a pretty good looking Aquaman. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. Very serious, very stern. It looks good, and with the black and white, you can really sort of appreciate the sculpts. It allows you to pay a lot more attention to it. Now let's check out his accessories, starting off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand. It's not a typical McFarlane stand. They're usually a black circle. This one here is a black rectangle. It has the Aquaman logo in the middle, and then one peg for the pegals on his feet. Kind of hollow. Now for his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of Aquaman with the black and white accent. Aquaman, Black White Accent Edition. On the back side, we have a certificate of authenticity. This is number 2,551 out of 3,010. And his collector's card comes with a little display stand for it. It doesn't do much for me, but if you want to display that next to your figures, here you go. Here's a look at this guy's collector's card on the left, next to the original version of the Endless Winter Aquaman's collector's card on the right. Now for his Trident. It's done in a yellow color, which frankly makes it look kind of dumb, although it matches the black and white yellow accent. The top, it's got the three sort of little forks here. Let's go further down. There's a little bit of detail in some of the areas where it's going to grip it, but it's a pretty basic looking Trident. Here's Aquaman holding that Trident. He can hold it with either one hand or with two. Now I wanted to check out the differences between the black and white accent Aquaman and the original fully colored Justice League Endless Winter Aquaman. And besides the obvious paint differences, there are no other differences. 100% the same figure, same sculpt, same articulation. So let's take a look. Starting with their heads here. They both look good. I much prefer the painted version for obvious reasons, but the other one really kind of lets you look at the sculpt and see all the detail they did. I think you can see it on the regular one too. Very stern face, traditional, iconic, normal Aquaman, and then we have this black and white version. As we go further down, his collar is done in gold as well as the belt, whereas his are yellow. Everything else is gray or darker gray, etc. Here's this Aquaman, next to the two most recent Big Bad Toy Store exclusive black and white accent figures. We have the three Joker's Joker, and then Martian Manhunter. And the first two black and white accent figures they did were Superman and the Flash. They even made a black and white accent version of Spawn. Here are all the different black and white accent Big Bad Toy Store exclusives McFarlane has made. The next one to come out is going to be the black and white accent Red Hood. That guy sold out in about an hour. Looks like a very popular release. Spawn and Joker are black and white with green accent. Aquaman and Flash, black and white with yellow accent. Martian Manhunter and Superman, black and white with red accent, which is what I believe Red Hood is going to be as well. Now let's check them out with some other McFarlane Aquaman figures. Here's the black and white accent version, next to the color version of the Justice League Endless Winter Aquaman. And here he is, next to the Flashpoint Aquaman. Then, next to the Page Puncher Aquaman. I think this guy would have been really cool with a hook for a hand. And now, next to the Jason Momoa, Zack Snyder's Justice League Aquaman. Then, next to all the different Aquaman 2, the Lost Kingdom, Jason Momoa movie Aquaman figures. Here are all the different McFarlane DC Multiverse Aquaman figures they've made. And you know there's going to be more. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now for his height. From bottom to the top of his head, staying at about 7.1 inches tall, which can translate to 18 centimeters. Now for his articulation. Starting with his head, of course, it can rotate side to side. The hair can get completely over the shoulders if you want to do that. You can look up, not much, down a little bit. You can tilt his head from side to side, tiny bit. Shoulders on a ball joint goes out a little bit more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got this butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest, increasing the range of motion and covering the large gap that would be there. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows. His wrist can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. Torso has a ball joint, rotate from side to side, forward and back. Another one is waist, rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, pretty good range of motion in the torso area. Legs completely does the splits, not a ball joint, McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation is minimal, but it's there. Legs go forward about that much, back not much. Double jointed knees. And then his ankle, forward and back, rotate, tilt, rock, and of course, to articulation. Here's Aquaman in the water, holding his trident. And here he is, swimming through the water. Here's Aquaman, locked into combat with Black Manta. And you never know what you're going to find in the ocean. Here's Aquaman, fighting King Shark. While King Shark simply says, "Friend." Aquaman approaches Starlight from the boys. He tells her, "Hey, a friend of mine named the Deep said, if you want to join the Justice League." She immediately goes berserker and starts choking Aquaman. Here's a look at both versions of this Aquaman in an underwater type setting. Tridents crossed. Now let's check them out, next to some other action figures. Starting off with some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here's Aquaman with the rest of the Justice League Endless Winter figures. As far as I know, this is everything they're going to make from that story. Here's this comic Aquaman, next to the only other Aquaman that McFarlane has made. This one is the Jason Momoa Aquaman from Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now let's check him out, next to some other Rebirth Justice League members. Here he is, next to the Rebirth Batman and Superman. Here's the entire lineup of DC Rebirth Justice League members. John Stewart, Martian Manhunter, Batman, Aquaman, Superman, The Flash, and Hal Jordan. I would say the main heavy hitters we're missing would be a Rebirth Wonder Woman, Shazam, and Cyborg. Add in the 1984 Wonder Woman, because she's the closest thing we have to a standard regular Wonder Woman. Now let's check him out, next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to a couple of Lex Luthor figures. Then, next to Superboy Prime and the Birds of Prey Harley Quinn. And here he is, next to a couple of Lobo figures. Then, next to the Speed Force Flash from Zack Snyder's Justice League, and the Reverse Flash from DC's Rebirth Comics. And here, with the Future State Batman and Dark Detective. And now, next to a couple of DC Rebirth General Zod figures. Then, next to Batman Beyond's Unmasked Batwoman and the Atomic Edition of Blight. Here he is, next to the Rebirth Batman and Infinite Frontier Robin. Then, with the Lois and Clark Superman and the Rebirth Martian Manhunter. And here's Aquaman, next to the Batman The Dark Knight Returns Superman vs. Armored Batman 2-pack. Then, next to the Mortal Kombat 11 Joker. And now, next to the Batman 3 Joker's wave. And here he is, next to McFarlane's The Batman Collection. Then, next to the Batman The Dark Knight Returns Collective Build-A-Horse wave. Here's Aquaman, next to the Titan Joker and Clayface Mega figures. And finally, next to the Death of the Family Joker. Now let's check him out, next to some other Aquaman figures. Here he is, with the only other McFarlane Aquaman they've made. Then, next to a Noble Toys Bendy figure Aquaman. And here he is, with my DC Direct and DC Collectibles Aquaman figures. Then, next to my Mattel Aquaman figures. And here's my entire collection of 6 and 7 inch Aquaman figures. Now let's check them out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how he fits in both scale and style wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane figure, they're typically the 7 inch scale. I'm going to start my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work my way smaller. Here he is with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7 inch scale. Then, with some more McFarlane Toys. These are from different various video game properties. And now, with some Jack specific wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here, with some NECA figures. Then, with some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, next to some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. And here he is, next to some Mezco 112 collective figures. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here, with some Mafex figures. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, here he is, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, this is a pretty cool Aquaman figure, but the black and white X-Men figures don't really do that much for me. Some of them look really good, some of them are just there. I thought the Joker looked really good, and Red Hood looks really good. The rest of them, eh. Now I think Batman figures would look really good with the black and white accent. Surprised they haven't done 1, 2, 3, or a whole bunch of those. I'm sure it's coming in the future. Now honestly, McFarlane could stop doing the black and white accent, the Jokerized, the vampire, the sketch, line art, the patina, the blacklight, and all these different pointless variants, and I wouldn't shed a tear. I'm a completist. I like the variants, but most of those don't do very much for me. Still, the figure itself looks good. It's a good sculpt, paint job. I mean, it is what it is. His accessory, also think looks kind of bad. If I were to rate this guy, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Maybe that's being a little bit generous, as I'm really not that fond of this release. There's a reason he's still available at Big Bad Toy Store today, and Red Hood sold out immediately. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add it in the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.